I have to remind myself about some of those first experiences I had when I first got involved in politics. And I remember what it felt like having my voice heard for the first time. I also remember folks talking about my community and my neighbors negatively. And it was because of those moments that I knew I had to stay involved in politics, which ultimately led me to go to Sacramento. My name is Christopher Sanchez. The town that I live in is Fullerton, California, and I'm currently a public interest policy advocate in Sacramento. I started this work in 2008 when I was joining community members to defend historic Chicano murals that were painted in the 1970s from being destroyed. There was a member of the city council who said that they're gang related and they needed to be destroyed. That really hurt because the murals are of zoot suiters and lowriders, things that speak to our own history. I knew that folks that were at the dais just needed to be educated about who we were, what we come from, and what our values are. And so I started organizing the members of my own community. Not only did we preserve the murals, but we also were able to ensure that the park was going to be redone in a way that the community wanted. Folks like myself, folks that came from the community with authentic voices had to be at those tables at all times, or else people were going to ultimately make decisions without us. Over the years, while I've been in Sacramento, I've learned the ins and outs of the legislature and the legislative process. I've seen what happens when community is involved and when community is not involved in the policymaking process. There's a very small percentage of people out there who understand the legislature in Sacramento. I know I have a responsibility to my community to translate that to them. I've made it a point in my career to work with community so it empowers them and that it doesn't put them at a disadvantage, so that their voice is the voice at the front and center of every conversation. I've done this with garment workers, with street vendors, with undocumented students, and so many other groups. And that's why we're taking this next step. The thing that has always led us to a victory, regardless of how much money is being dumped in a campaign or into backrooms of Sacramento, is the voices of the community. When I became an advocate in 2017, people would often say, well, you have to come to their table. You have to meet us in the middle. But when I would walk in that room, the terms were laid out for us, whether we liked them or not. We were already at a disadvantage, regardless of believing this thought of having an equal seat at the table. I've often asked myself, whose table is this? And what was it built on? If we want to have equal footing, if we want to have a real say-so at any of these quote-unquote tables that have been put there in politics, we have to bring them to our table. That's why I've decided to establish the Mesa Verde Group, a table where people from my community have built it and hold the power, where we invite those from the other side to come talk to us and negotiate on our terms. Our lobbying firm is going to continue to stand on the principles of opening doors and making space for those who need someone to stand with them. At the Mesa Verde, we understand exactly what's at stake for communities across California. We know what it's like to have the odds against us and still have the Goliaths fall after they use their infinite amount of resources against us. So join us at the Mesa Verde, where this is your table too.